Grocery bills got you down?
In a world filled with all this insecurity, division, hate, disdain, low-scoring character attributes, planned obsolescence, and inflation, it's hard enough to even just feed yourself. And all we want to do is wear old man sweaters, hide out in the woods, and figure skate.
Oh dear.
Back a few videos ago, we talked about highlanding and jumping out into the woods, facilitating a preemptive bug out. So if you still find yourself in the city struggling with grocery bills and exorbitant rent, this video is for you. Let's cook us up some traditional First Nations hobo lunch.
With the world quickly unraveling, we preemptively bought ourselves a cabin in the woods. Now in the Prairie post-apocalypse, we're left with
scrap, and junk load. Oh my.
And we'll get into meal prep in just a second. First, let's talk about what's on my back. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Hobo bindle sack, but do you know about the Hobo lunch kit? It is, after all, what is bringing our meal together today. As you can see, it's just a bit of a coffee can with a bit of rope attached to support as a handle, which can easily just be slid onto the back of your bindle stick and carried in order to keep both your hands free for whatever else you might be needing to do. And so most obviously, it carries crap. Gravity working not in my favor. But the old coffee can with a little doorway cut out in it and a bunch of holes punched in the back with a nail also supports as a camp stove. You gotta love how this all fell and landed so neatly. I know you're waiting on this old traditional recipe, but I feel like it would be an absolute injustice if we didn't show you how to put this thing together. You're gonna go ahead and lay out your cordage. Mind the dog. Open it up in the center. Let's go from there. Bring your one end up, give it a twist, and drop it down into your middle. And you're going to want to make this kind of a deflated heart. Go ahead and drop this guy kind of in the center, right at the crux where the cordage crosses over. Take this end, pull it through right about there, and bring it in to the point that you can loop it over top of your can. I know it's a little hard to see because the brown on brown, but bear with me here. Take these wings, the originals that were laid down, and go over top of the cordage you pulled over the can and just pull it through. And pull your can up and just sort of dress everything out all nice and timely. Bottom should kind of cross either in the middle or at the back or at the front. Doesn't really matter as long as it's stable. Now that it's dressed, it's safe enough to just lay down so you can load it. Let's head out and do some cooking. Dog helmet? Dog helmet.
Would you look at that? Its secondary function is a camp stove.
One of the reasons this high density food worked out so well was because it's super simple to make. All you're gonna need is some fat. In this case, we've got bear grease from last year's season, some flour, and some water. So we're gonna start with our flour, just so that we can add water to it and find our consistency we're looking for. We're also going to take and throw a little bit of that bear grease directly on top of our hobo stove because this is going to work as our element and our frying pan. This guy is just for mixing this stuff up. Now go ahead and mix in some water. You're looking for a bit of a doughy consistency, but before we get too doughy, we're going to add a little bit of salt, just for flavoring. Minus the twigs. And that's just about the consistency you're looking for. And we'll just go ahead and add that directly to the top of our little hobo cooker. Throw a little more bear grease on the side so it slides under, so we get a little less stick. And once it's cooled, you've got bannock. You can obviously cook whatever on top of this guy. Great. Other versions also include holes punched through either side where a stick can be run across, where you'd actually smoke some meat from some rabbit that you caught, snared, trapped, whatever. And it also just works as a water basin and pretty much whatever you can think of, given its parameters.
And they asked me, why so serious?
Is this not a bushcraft comedy channel?
Which I applied.
No, it isn't.